And remember, if you would like to have your say on the show, you can call us on the number on the bottom of your screens, and that's 011 714 0677 or 011 714 0678 or 0679. Of course, that's if you want to talk to us about the water challenges being faced in your community. And for more on this topic, we are now joined by Deputy Minister for Water and Sanitation, Mr. David Mahlobo. He joins us now via our video link. Deputy Minister, thank you so much for your time this evening here at SABC News. Let's start off here. I mean, this is not a new phenomenon when it comes to water challenges gripping the country. And would you say, as government, why does it seem as if you are fighting a losing battle here when it comes to addressing the problems associated with water challenges in the country?
No, thank you so much, Mbali, and to your viewers across the length and breadth of our country. We are not fighting a losing battle, but there is a correct view why citizens have an apprehension around the inconveniences they are suffering by intermittent water supply, no reliability, and in certain instances, no water at all. When it comes to the leadership of prioritizing this matter, His Excellency President Ramaphosa, you are quite aware, last year he made a decision to prioritize water as a major crisis that our country faces. He directed Minister Majodina and ourselves as deputy ministers to work with the entire water sector to respond to some of the challenges that our country faces. That development plan, it has a five-point plan, Mbali. In the main, there's a question of water security. Will this country run out of water by 2030? The answer, if we do nothing, the country will run out of water by 2030 because the demand for water in our country, the issues that the economy must grow, create jobs. If we don't increase water availability, it's a problem. That's why all the major bulk infrastructure projects, whether the Lesotho Highlands that will provide to water to Gauteng, Mpumalanga, certain parts of Free State, and the parts of Northwest, that one will come live by 2030. You look in the Western Cape, we're dealing with the situation of the Glen Williams Dam. You come to Mpumalanga, there's a Loskop Dam with Limpopo, Tzanini Dam in Limpopo. That particular point, Mbali, we've done well.
Yeah.
But there was an issue of financing. Where will we get the money? President directed us to open up the water sector. That's why we've invited private sector through blended financing. Mining sector, they're coming on board. The biggest challenge we face is the water reticulation to citizens. Remember, there are 144 municipalities that are water services authorities. 105 of them, including municipalities in Gauteng, are not doing well, and there's a turnaround plan. One of the biggest issues that we need to do is to improve communication with citizens. Even during the day when we are running the program, whether in Gauteng, whether in Limpopo, in the Eastern Cape, the disappearance of leaders is a big problem. They must be able to be truthful to citizens that how big is the problem, what are they doing, but what is the response that we need from citizens, because South Africa is a water scarce country. Water wastages, for an example, in Gauteng, just the clip you were playing now, there was a problem of infrastructure explosion in the rainwater system that happened around the 28th of January. By the 30th, that particular program, I was here with you, it was resolved. But in water, it's not like electricity. When you have a problem of a shutdown of 1 hour, it can take you more than 7 hours, depending where the system level was to be able to recharge. Then in 2 days and 3 days ago, you remember I was in Midrand with Data Moreno. In the main, what are we doing? Because citizens, they don't want us to be diagnosing problem. We've put up our technical teams that are looking at the water system in the morning at 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, they give us as politicians the report. And politicians must give this information, especially at the local level, how the water system, for an example, the areas we are mentioning of Midrand, whether the issues around in Israel, there at Bedford View, in some parts of Soweto, and the parts of city of Tshwane, I know that in the morning, the system that is giving water to those reservoirs was as low as 23%, which is the Cliffontaine system. It carries 450 million liters per day. Then because of that particular aspect, it means the team must then apply something called load shifting, where the reservoirs are in a better position. You shift the water on the other side, and citizens will start to see a low pressure coming out of those particular taps. But at the very same time, we need to apply water restriction.
Yeah.
It's very hot these days, Mbadi. And when we actually use water in a manner that it does not take into sensitivity that it is a shortage, it is a problem, and people are throwing more water out of the system. And worse, I'm just giving these numbers. I've not minus the issue of water losses in Gauteng generally, Johannesburg running around 50%, Tshwane at the very same time, while Ekurhuleni is doing well. Whereas the area of Sedibeng and Mfuleni, Mbali, they are losing 72% of the water into the ground. Those are some of the issues that we're dealing with in terms of supporting municipalities because we don't have a choice. The worst thing that we do is the water tankering. The water tankering, we must communicate with citizens, monitor it so that these tankers are not abused, but they bring water when citizens are available in their homes.
All right, Minister, I'd like for us now to take a call, and we have Mahlobo on the line. He is from Pretoria. And Mahlobo, over to you. What would you like to say to the Minister?
Hi, Mbali.
Good, thanks, and you?
And then hi to Minister Mahlobo. Mbali, first of all,
how are you?
Yeah, the problem which we have is the people who run the government and municipality. Most of them, like Minister Majotina, they don't have any knowledge or experience of any plumbing system or a sewer system. That is the first problem. You see, if we are deploying people to run municipality like Tshwane is too big, Gauteng, we have to appoint a person the person who have a knowledge and experience and qualification for those running a water system. So now, if you can see, most of the people which are running municipality, they don't know anything about those things like a sewer line, main line of the supplying water. And then first of all, and then the second one, if you can see, we've got the mosque squatter camps. So the more we've got the mosque squatter camp, we have to extend our reservoirs so we can accommodate those people. If you don't do that, there's no way we can have a sufficient water. And then the correct, they deliver the water with the trucks. You see, where those comrades getting the water with those trucks?
All right.
That is the problem. We have to check the way we run our government. We run our government in the wrong system. That is why we can't have a proper water in our society.
All right.
So we must change the system. And the water somewhere in our place like Soshanguve, Mabopane, Rankua, the pipes are leaking on the street. The main pipes are leaking on the street. Like on the front of my gate, if you can allow me to send you the photo.
All right, Mahlobo.
Those leakage, the municipality, they don't fix the pipe.
All right, thank you so much, Mahlobo, for your contribution. Let's now head on over to the Minister. Minister, there, you heard Mahlobo from Pretoria detailing a number of issues, saying that there is issues with the water treatment plant and those responsible for ensuring that water does get treated, questioning the resources of those individuals, also talking about the mushrooming of informal settlements and the water systems thereof to those municipalities or those informal settlements, and then the issue around the leaking of pipes in residential areas. How do you respond to some of the concerns there raised from Mahlobo?
Mbali, we have reached a stage where we need to solve problems. Currently, if there are people who are not having the requisite skills, our ministry, led by David Mahlobo, with the directive of the president, we have taken a decision while they are sorting out the capacity of appointing wrong people and all these other issues. Citizens must not wait. In our own case, we are providing our water boards, Rand Water and Gauteng, Umgeni, KwaZulu-Natal, Mahalis. We want them to help these municipalities while they are fixing their capacity. Equally, we are mobilizing technical teams like we did in Cape Town, we did in eThekwini. We brought experts. There's something called Water Partnership for Secure Housing. These engineers from the private sector and these universities around us, we must work with them around issues of water conservation, demand management, asset management. That's the capacity we are mobilizing as a state. We are not only mobilizing that particular capacity, but we are bringing in financing. For an example, all the metros in our country, working with Minister Kotongwane, we are trying to resolve the issue of ring fencing of water and electricity as trading services to deal with issues of governance, the issue of financing, getting the requisite skill so that they can deal with that particular issue. And we want municipal councils to be open to these implementation modalities that we're dealing with. While these that who don't have the expertise, they must be trained over a particular period, get to be professional. If they can't do that, they must leave the system. When it comes to issues of water leaks, what we have done is that we want communities to respond, to report water leaks. That's why our technical teams, they meet in the morning, during the day, and in the afternoon. But when they report these leaks, we want municipalities elsewhere, everywhere in our country to respond to the leak, Mbali, so that it does not take more than 48 hours, 2 weeks, just to resolve the leak. There is one person who's a very active citizen, who's a champion for water, is called John Wilkinson. He's from Gauteng in Johannesburg. He reports the leaks in every corner. He sends it to me, Minister Majodina. I then refer to my team of Rand Water, Johannesburg Water. There's an improvement. And when we've done well, he's able to respond to say we're doing well. Municipalities, the other matter they must manage with citizens is the question that we must be able to pay for citizens, for services. Those who can afford, they must pay. Those who are unable to afford, they must register for free basic services. We deal with the issue. But the water tankering, it must be temporary. It can't be a permanent fixture. It has element of exploitation and corruption. These people sometimes they affect the infrastructure. Let's insource it. It must be a municipal asset. It must be used on a basis when there's an emergency. Because metros like Gauteng, whether KwaZulu-Natal, how can you provide water people through tendering? It's impossible looking at the virtue and the size. Lastly, these informal settlements, we must be able to know that people must not build anywhere, and then the next thing they demand for particular services. But those existing settlements, there's an informal upgrade grant that is there. There's a component of water. Let's be able to provide them with water so that we can restore their dignity, including issues of sanitation.
Yeah, and Minister, I would like for us now to take another call. We have Arthur on the line, and Arthur is from the Free State. Arthur, what are your thoughts when it comes to this issue of a water crisis?
Very good night. My problem I have here in Caribbean. The thing is 5 years in, 5 years out. We don't receive water here in Caribbean. Our councillor tell me that they are struggling to fill up our reservoirs, and we have two dams of reservoirs. So he said to us, he struggle. And I asked him a question. Is it like Joburg, where the people came from other places, there's houses to be built and all that. That's why the people are struggling with water.
All right,
he said, but we are struggling, we don't get water. We stay in Caribbean, the biggest dam, but we don't get water. That is our problem.
All right, thank you so much, Arthur. I'd like for us now to take another call. All right, and who do we have on the line now? Peter, yes. Peter, over to you.
Yes. 1 year ago, I went to former President Motlanthe. 1 year ago, I went to former President Motlanthe. And former President arranged a meeting in his office.
Yes, Peter, you can continue. Would like to hear about the water challenges.
Yes. And then the former president arranged a meeting in his office.
Peter, could you please listen to us through your telephone and not through your television, please? Could you please mute your TV and speak to us through the telephone? All right, it seems as if we have lost Peter there. He was trying to give us a bit of more information. Minister or Deputy Minister, you heard there from Arthur. He's all the way from Garib Dam in the Free State. Also they're questioning why do they have such a large dam in their area, but they're still struggling with water access.
We have to assist all our communities, especially communities closer to the dams. Is inhumane that those dams, they must supply communities very, very far from them. Those communities in Garib will send our technical team of Dr. Ndili to look at it. He has a very good point. One of the reasons why, Mbali, most of the time communities, if there's a system failure, they run out of water. Many of these municipalities, they have not done the basics. The basics says you must create enough storage, which is the reservoirs. And when you have a reservoir, the reservoir must be able to carry you minimally for 48 hours to 72 hours, so that when there's a disruption. For an example, in Gauteng, you know that in Johannesburg, many reservoirs are leaking, they are being bypassed, that's a problem. And you go to Midrand, many reservoirs are not in place. But I'm happy that the mayor of Johannesburg, now he has appointed people, is putting more additional reservoirs. Additional storage is meant for those difficult times that we need to be able to do. But other than that, we should be in a position to say, in the immediate, let's just manage the system as a going concern. Our technical teams must manage the system. In the short term, let's increase our storage capabilities so that if there's a power failure, there's an engine failure, we're able to deal with the issues. But at the very same time, non-revenue water or water leaking pipes, it must stop as a matter of urgency, because you cannot have a situation where in one municipality, as I was saying, we are losing 72% of your water that goes on the ground. Then you are still going to have no revenue just to be able to do operation and maintenance. Therefore, that should be our enemy number one. Enemy number two, illegal connections.
Yeah.
Illegal connections, if you used to have water today in Bali and you are living in a high-lying area, someone decides to put a smallanyana informal settlement, they connect into the system illegally, then the water pressure is going to come down. Then the tendering one, we have spoken about it, it must be banned, used only on temporary basis and part of being the state. Then the issue of civic education is going to be very important. You can see now, during summer, the temperatures are very high. People must hydrate. But illegal use of water like showering, you don't close your shower. We are actually not using yellow water where you go to the bathroom, when you pass your urinals, you don't flush at night, so that you can be able to save the water using a brown water, in other ways, the effluent to do certain things. Those are the things that we need to be able to encourage. And if we don't change that particular behavior, we'll continue to use more water, rent water as we speak now, and umgeni water. Minister has allowed them to actually pump more water than what is being licensed.
Okay.
And that system is not sustainable.
All right, Minister, I'd like for us now to take another caller, and we have Nelson on the line. He's all the way from Polokwane. Nelson, over to you. What's your question to the Deputy Minister? Hello, Nelson, are you there? All right, let's go back to Peter from Davidton. Peter, you wanted to say something to the Deputy Minister?
Yes. Over 1 year ago, I went to former President Motlanthe with a solution for water leaks. Former President Motlanthe called a meeting in his office with that Deputy Minister that's sitting with you there. At the end of our presentation, Motlanthe said he must respond. And his response was, yes, the solution is good, but the government doesn't have water. Then we said to him, look, we will identify an area where there are a lot of water leaking pipes, and we will repair that at our own cost
Yeah.
to show that the solution works. For a whole year, I've been phoning him. I have the proof. I can send you the proof of my calls to him. Every time I call him, he says, he's busy, he's busy, he's busy. And I went back to former President Motlanthe, and former President Motlanthe said he spoke to him, and he hasn't come back to him either to report as to what happened as a result of our meeting, of him arranging the meeting with the deputy minister. The deputy minister must be honest with the country. He has no interest in solving this problem.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Peter, for your comments, and we'll get the minister to respond shortly. Let's now go to another one of our callers. And who do we have on the line now? Mageza. Mageza, over to you.
Yes, I'm in Limpopo at Elen. I heard the minister saying that there is water in Limpopo. We don't have even water, even a drop of water here. We buy water every day. I wonder why the minister is saying that there is water in Limpopo. There's no water in Limpopo. I bought a tank of water today.
All right, Mageza, thank you so much for that contribution. Of course, Deputy Minister, those are two callers now that you have to deal with. One who says that you visited them over a year ago in the Davidton area and speaking about issues of addressing the water challenges. They're also saying that there's no truth to what you are telling them when it comes to addressing the challenges of water. In Limpopo, Mageza says that they have no water. How do you respond to these concerns?
But there are many people who come and claim that they have solutions for water. And fortunately, I studied water. I not only studied water, I also practice water as a professional. If you want to help local government, the assets belong to municipalities. Municipalities must engage in a fair and a transparent process and a competitive bidding process. I will not be in a position that I must bet for one company for the other. In other words, that would be actually irregular in terms of our processes. If there are people who are having solutions, government has been in a position to advertise, especially municipalities, because these are the assets that belong to municipalities. And if people have solution around non-revenue water, water conservation and demand management, like as I speak right now, Johannesburg, they've put out certain contractors that are doing there. I will not get into procurement processes, but that would be irregular. With respect to the issues of Limpopo, I've never said that Limpopo has water. What I know that Limpopo as a province, we are supporting them as a Department of Water and Sanitation. You go right now to Polokwane, there's an Olifants Ebenezer scheme. We've been able to raise more than 4.2 billion rands. As I speak right now, Lepelle Northern Water is trying to help Polokwane as a capital. It has an ability to grow. But Polokwane has a lot of issues of non-revenue water. That is happening as we currently speak now. When you go to communities like communities of Skukune, you go to communities of Waterberg, and Capricorn that doesn't have water as we speak now. Our ministry has spoken to private sector. We've agreed with the mines to raise 26 billion rands to take the water that is full in a dam called the Warp Dam that I was involved when that particular dam was done many years ago, is actually full right now. We'll be able to bring the water to Skukune, the Nebo Plateau, until we go to Polokwane, and including going to the issues of Waterberg, but growing 50-50 with the mines, because the issue of private partnership is a very important aspect because the state does not have all the money. You know the issue of the famous of Guyane that is there.
Yeah.
Currently, we're on phase 2, more than 24 villages for the first time. We've been able to assist the Mopani district to have water, but we know now that Mopani and Guyane was highly affected by the issues of the floods that are there, and most of these assets and infrastructure are being destroyed. And I know that we're trying to bring water from Zimbabwe. You look at the issues of Musina, Makado, so that we can bring the water around there. This is the support that National Department of Water and Sanitation is providing. But at the very same time, our support is limited. Municipalities, they too must be able to do what they are supposed to do in terms of setting aside their own monies, appoint the right people, reduce non-revenue water, deal with the issues of infrastructure failures that are happening.
All right. Deputy Minister, thank you so much for that engagement, and thank you so much to speaking to our callers tonight here on The Full View. That's David Mahlobo. He's the Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation. They're talking to us about the water challenges facing the country. Also, they're responding to some of the concerns being raised by South Africans throughout the country. Let's take a quick ad break. More news for you when we return. Stay with us.